Today I'm going to just try a little bit different technique. Still using the Artist Resin medium viscosity, equal parts A and B. I always write it on the top because you always put B in first and then A in afterwards, and it mixes better that way. And after your resin is sat for a while, the B will turn kind of yellowish. So if I want something a little bit more clear, I use my newer resin. I always keep surplus. And use the newer resin where I want a clearer look, and if I'm adding a bunch of pigment to it, then I can use the older resin, which may have yellowed a tiny bit, but it's really not visible to your eye. Putting a piping bag in a larger cup for my white. I'm using these 4 coaster molds from Shop Resin Molds. I used them to make peacock coasters, and so they have a little bit of a oblong or triangular shape, just a bit. And I thought, I'm just going to try them and do a little bit different maybe technique than I typically do. We're going to see how this pans out. It may not go the way I want to, because isn't that the way it usually runs? So I'm going to set aside about 1.5 ounces at the most for my white, and I'm going to use Cast and Craft. The new bottle, I'm going to have to puncture it a little bit more than I already have. As I typically do, I'm going to add some sparkle white from Etsy Funshine Color Shop, my favorite all-time mica to go in any color really, but especially in the white. I did mix my resin for 6 minutes, and I have the timer going to pay attention to the timing on the resin. That's very important if you want a kind of a 3D floral effect. I'm just going to put one little bit of the sparkle white. Typically I add alcohol ink, but I don't think I might even add alcohol ink today. I do want it to be fairly opaque though. I might add just another couple of drops. This will go into my piping bag right before I make the coaster. So I'm going to set this aside and just let it be kind of warming up after a little bit of time. Okay, then these little cups here, which I never use, but I'm going to try to use them because you can kind of control it a little bit. They're little silicone flexible little pieces here, and I don't need much of either. Put a little bit of resin in both of them. I actually need less of one of them than I do the other, but we'll see how much resin we have left for this in the middle here and the coasters. I'm just going to go ahead and pour. Roughly these probably take about 2 ounces each, and so that's what I'm going to go ahead and practically fill them up to the top. I have to leave a little room to add my colors or my white, but it's not going to be a lot of resin that I add to it. If you don't mix enough resin or whatever, you can always go back and put a real thin coat on top to totally fill up a mold. So don't panic if you don't have your mold totally filled. I always save my cups after I've mixed my resin totally, and you can reuse them over and over again. So because these have a little bit of an egg shape to them, or whatever you want to call it, I have some glass bits or rose gold sparkles from Laura's Art Corner, and I'm going to put them a little upwards and off center. I don't want them in the total center. This is the rose, and it is pink, even though the bottle does not look that way. That is peach, it says, but as you can see, it's different from the rose. Okay. So I just want a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of rose, a couple little drops. I'm going to start really slow on this one. We're at 17 minutes, so I'm keeping an eye on my time. So let me put more. I want it transparent, and that's really kind of too hot pinkish for me, or violety or whatever. I've got some Counterculture Carnation mica. Give it a little shimmer. That adds just a hint of color, which is really kind of perfect there. It's kind of like a rose gold, but it's got that little bit of a magenta tint to it, but it's still transparent. I want that. So that's good right there. I'm going to put a teeny tiny little bit of Asparagus by Etsy Funshine Color Shop. I want just a shimmer and still transparent, and I'm going to put a lime, one little drop. It just punches it up just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to put one drop of caramel just to knock off the liminess just a bit. That was too much, really, probably. But we'll go ahead and use it. It just goldens up the green. So it kind of looks like nature, you know, it mimics nature. I think I'm going to do one more drop of the lime. Okay, so those are just really just a slight hint of color and a little shimmer. Again, this was Asparagus by Etsy Funshine Color Shop with the sparkle white, Carnation from Counterculture. So the bottles can be deceiving. Just make sure if you want to check it out, you do on a napkin or something. Test it before you go using it if you're not real sure about what color it's going to end up being. And this is slightly warm, and that's good. And it's been 21 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my piping bag. I like the piping bag because you can control it a little bit more than trying to get it out of a cup. If you want to, you know, kind of control the shapes and whatever, then a piping bag is the way to go. I'm going to put this aside for a minute. Just the little tip. This is purely experimental. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just going with it. So I probably waited a little longer than I should have on the white, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to take a toothpick and I'm going to kind of bring in towards the center. There would have been a little bit more color coming out to about right here. So that it is what it is. I could also go back and put a really thin coat of a tinted color behind it if I wanted to, or some glitter. You know, I could totally do that. I have a little resin left, but I'm just going to let it cure in the little things and peel them out. So I hadn't done anything in a while. Been kind of putting Christmas decorations and things up, so it was nice to get back in the studio and just make something. And sometimes, you know, you are a little rusty, and that's okay. I still think they're going to be pretty one way or the other, so we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. I'll be back. Okay, it's been overnight. Just going to show you, see, you can take these and literally just pop them out. So they still leave little beads, and that's why I still like the hard plastic containers, because you just kind of squeeze and it releases it all in kind of one piece if you turn them upside down when you're finished with them, and the resin will drain down. But these are still good for small amounts of resin. So we're going to unmold, demold. So it's pretty, but not what I quite envisioned, and I know that I waited too long on the white. I would have wanted it to sink a little more, and more, I wanted a little bit, the color to go a little bit further out, but not all the way. So I'll try it a little differently the next time. So they're kind of like, they almost are kind of like white peacock feathers. I think I know what to do for the next set. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I used Counterculture resin, medium viscosity, their Carnation mica powder, Rose Gold Sparkles by Laura's Art Corner, Asparagus and Sparkle White by Etsy Funshine Color Shop, and a few drops of this Lemino resin colorant, the caramel, the lime, and the rose. So that was what I used to tint the little bit of resin in the centers. So I will see you on the next video. Make sure to check out all the links below the video, and also come join our Facebook group, Art Healing Hearts Auctions. We're having ongoing auctions in 2022 every few months, and connecting fabulous artists with enthusiasts, collectors, clients all over the country or outside of the United States. And it's just a really wonderful way to bring artists and people together that are interested in their art. So come check it out. Fabulous artists of all mediums. So I'll see you there. Love you all. Bye bye.